Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Divedi, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about the Uniform Civil Code. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS Mains Paper 2. So let's begin. These are going to be the topics of our discussion, beginning with why in news. This topic has been in news for quite a while because it has stirred a controversy because of the statement made by the Chief Justice of India, S.A. Bobde, on the the inauguration ceremony of Goa's new High Court. He has said that intellectuals should come together and talk about Goa's Uniform Civil Code and how Goa's Uniform Civil Code has aligned itself to the Uniform Civil Code of India. Now, this spurred a controversy, and that is why we took out this topic and tried to explain this Indian Express article in brief. So, what does the Supreme Court? Now, Supreme Court, it favors Uniform Civil Code throughout India, as envisaged under the Article 44 of the DPSP of the Indian Constitution. And the Supreme Court cites the example of Goa, saying that the state has UCC for all, irrespective of their religion, and no provision for triple talaq. It also says that Muslim men whose marriages are registered in Goa cannot practice polygamy. It also said that no attempt made to frame a UCC despite SC appeals in Shah Bano and Sadla Mutkal case. The disappointment here is shown, and Hindu laws codified in 1956. Now, if we talk about the Uniform Civil Code, what is it? Uniform Civil Code is a code or a set of laws that says that a citizen of our nation should be abiding by the laws, principles, duties, irrespective of their religion on similar lines. That means it upholds the Article 14, equality. The Article 14 talks about equality for all and equal protection of laws. So, Uniform Civil Code comes under Article 44 of the Constitution, and which lays down that the state shall endeavour to secure a uniform civil code for the citizens throughout the territory of India. If we talk about its origin, it dates back to colonial India, when the British government submitted its report in 1835, and personal laws of Hindus and Muslims should have been kept out such codification. A bill was then adopted in 1956 as the Hindu Succession Act to amend and codify the laws relating to interstate or unwilled succession among Hindus, Muslims, Jains and Sikhs. Now, in order to bring uniformity, the courts have often said that in their judgment that the government should move towards a uniform civil code. If we talk about Goa's Uniform Civil Code, it's actually civil code. This is uniform in nature, but not a lot, not what has been put out by the Chief Justice of India, in the sense that it has certain anomalies and certain differentiations in it. Let's see what are these. Now, Goa's Portuguese Civil Code 1867 is basically an alien civil code, that means brought out by foreigners, by the Portuguese. Its continuance and non-enforcement of Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and Hindu Succession Act 1956 or Indian Succession Acts 1925 or Shariat Application Act 1937 and dissolution of the Muslim Marriage Act 1939, etc. in Goa. Goa's Civil Code has basically four parts, namely civil capacity, acquisition of rights, right to property, and the breach of rights and remedies. It begins in the name of God and Dom Louis, King of Portugal and Algarve. Under Article 1 of the Decree of Gentile Hindu Usages and Customs of Goa 1880, customs of Hindus were preserved and exemptions from the civil code were given to Gentile Hindus. The Shariat Act has not been extended to Goa. Muslims are governed by the code as well as Shastric Hindu law. If we talk about marriages and property, Article 1057 of Goa's code provides for the registration of marriages, but this lacks uniformity between Catholic and non-Catholic marriages. Many cases of bigamy because of this and frauds have been reported, and marriages solemnized in churches can be annulled by the church tribunal in case of non-consummation. Also, Article 108 says that the ecclesiastical courts alone can nullify Catholic marriages. Also, the High Court mechanically approves such annulment except in extraordinary cases. Article 1204 permits the husband to get a divorce if adultery is committed by the wife, but the wife can get a separation only if the husband commits adultery with public scandal, and a divorce if he keeps a mistress in the conjugal home or abandons her. Article 3 of the Decree of Gentile Hindu Usages and Customs of Goa 1880 provides that the Hindu husband can take a second wife in the absence of an issue. Here, look at the problem here. If the wife has attained the age of 25, not so civil, and Also, if she has attained age 80 without having a son. Look at the patriarchy over here. And the provision is contrary to both the Indian Penal Code and the Hindu Marriage Act. Article 1056, it terms marriage a perpetual contract between persons of different sex. Same-sex marriage is not recognized rather than sacrament. Also, the code provides for prenuptial contracts. And there are 4 types of such contracts, such as no communion of properties, total separation of assets before and after marriage, total regime under which the bride's share in her father's property is given to the husband, and communion of all assets of husband and wife that are equally divided on divorce or death. It is only the 4th that looks equitable. And yet, even here, the management of properties is solely vested in the husband. Under Article 1104, the wife is not entitled to deprive the husband by the way of antenuptial contracts from the administration of assets. She may, however, reserve for herself the rights to receive parts of income from her assets for pocket expenses, provided it does not exceed 1/3 of the net income. Also, of course, there is a joint ownership, and the husband cannot sell assets without the wife's consent. Moreover, what is divided are properties, not ownership of rights or interests, and thus, if the husband was an agricultural tenant, she would not get half the tenurial interest. And many prenuptial contracts do provide that there would be no right if the marriage is not solemnized or the wife leaves the marital home within few months or even on divorce. In cases of parties opting out of joint ownership of properties, the succession order becomes significant. Not only Article 1969 of the Goa Civil Code, but also Goa Succession, Special Notaries, Inventory Proceedings Act of 2012 mentions in Section 52 that surviving spouse at number 4 in the order of preference of legal succession after descendants, ascendants, and brothers and sisters and their children. Unlike the Hindu Succession Act that gives unlimited testamentary powers, Article 1784 of the Goa Code prohibits disposal of more than 50% of assets through a will. Now this is called a legitime. The Goa Succession, Special Notaries and Inventory Proceedings Act 2 has restrained it. And the provision is similar to one in Muslim personal law and says that a Muslim cannot make a will of more than 1/3 of his property and 2/3 must go to the heirs. Now, there are certain challenges with respect to Uniform Civil Code. First, exceptions in central family laws. And the parliamentary laws do not extend to certain, previously did not extend to Jammu and Kashmir, but still it does not extend to Goa. It does not extend to the customary and religious laws of Nagaland and Mizoram. So this is the first challenge. Also, there is communal politics. What is being seen that any social reform under Uniform Civil Code is being seen under the garb of Uniform Civil Code is being seen as something that is against the majority section of the population. There is constitutional hurdle as well, that Article 25 that preserves the right to practice, propagate and right to freely profess the religion. Uniform Civil Code goes against this. So there is a hurdle under this article as against under Article 14, equality for all. Way forward is we need collaborative approach with the policies. We also need social reforms which must come through the society. There should not be a monolith approach but brick by brick approach. The approach should be, first we should talk about marriages coming under UCC. Then we should talk about maintenance, property, inheritance and everything else. Gender sensitive approach should be taken in order for this Uniform Civil Code many a times should strike at the patriarchy, should try to equalize the responsibilities and the benefits, should balance these two for both the females and the males, and pan-India approach should be there. The entire structure, the entire political structure of India should be affected, should be coming under Uniform Civil Code, and it should not leave any place such as Mizoram, Nagaland and any other region behind. Alright, so that's it for today. Move on to the main space question. You have to explain in detail Article 44 of the Indian Constitution in 250 words. That's it. Alright, so I hope you all are safe. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Also keep on doing your hard work. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.